Hi, this is Lisa Hazard with We're All Psychic in preparation for my first interview with Misty, who is coming over to my house to social distance on the back porch and record our interview. I would like to talk about empathy. Everybody experiences empathy. Well, maybe not some sociopaths according to psychology, but supposedly we all experience empathy for other people. Now, this is a little different than sympathy. Sympathy is kind of like imagining it being yourself and understanding someone else's point of view, but empathy is more like actually feeling what the other person or other people are experiencing with your own emotions as though their emotions are yours. You might have heard of the term empath here or elsewhere or everywhere. Empaths are getting to know that they are empaths the world over right now. When I was younger, in my mid 20s to late 20s, and I started looking into empaths and empathy, I couldn't find anybody really to talk to about it. But now I go to Books a Million, and the front row is all body, mind, spirit. And that's a wonderful thing, my friends. And it makes me very happy anyway. So, how do you know if you are an empath or you are experiencing an empathy overload? Well, the subject of this show is we are all psychic, so I personally think everybody's experiencing it all the time. I think I mentioned this in my first podcast, maybe, but when we're closer to people and live with them, we'll definitely be sensing their energies and their emotions and their ups and downs. I live in a household of four wonderful people, and when one of us is just off, all of us feel off, and we'll talk about it. Maybe not in terms like my empathy tells me that you're blah, 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 etc., but we do talk about how we all react to each other's moods. So, what do I mean by empathy overload, and why would I even discuss that? Because so many people who are experiencing the kind of empathy where they can't block out anybody. Well, they have a lot of troubles in their life. Sometimes they attract people who are those negative types of energies and who want the empath's comfort. In a way, an empath can suck out the negative from someone and make them feel better, and then they go off and do something they want to do, and the empath's left with all the hard feels. And by hard feels, I mean stuck in those negative emotions that that person left them with. And Misty reminds me of people who are overloaded by empathy. And she has some very interesting experiences to tell us about, hopefully, tomorrow, because we did try to do an interview last night, but we had technical difficulties, of course, because that's the way things happen to Misty. So sometimes people who are empaths and have a lot of psychic energy and don't necessarily know how to like work with it and channel it and get themselves use terms like grounding and stuff like that. If you don't know what that is, we'll explain it some more. But there are a lot of techniques an empath can do so that they don't take on those lower energies that people project, so that they don't attract destructive people into their lives, which is a lot of the problems empaths have. And those people can really mess up their lives. And there's a beautiful side to being an empath, though. That's just the hard stuff I was just talking about. But the beautiful side is just when you feel the good feelings from people. So many empaths are stuck in the negatives, and they're so used to absorbing the negatives that they forget that they can also enjoy the positives, and they can also feel positive energy from people, good moods, that playful thing that some people have going. A fiery Leo might come along and just liven up the room, and an empath will feel it. And if they are attuned to it and are open to receiving positive energy, oh, they'll just go through the roof. So, how can an empath balance themselves out? It can take a long time. It might just take the right words said at the right time. And Misty told me she's the kind of learner that learns by watching. So maybe that's why technical difficulties happened last night, and we have to do it in person. But Misty's empathy is very, very heightened, and I can tell because I said so. Just kidding. I think she is, and she and I have talked about it, and she's working on her own techniques and her own ways of coping with having such strong empathy. Now, there's a thing that can also happen. I think I mentioned it a second ago, but this problem with psychic energy, when your empathy is off balance, when your telepathy, they kind of link together, and all the little happy phrases and terms for psychic phenomena, energy work, witchcraft, all that good stuff. It's like a problem with psychic energy can cause light bulbs to burst. They can cause technical difficulties, Misty, if you're listening. And they can cause kinds of energy fluctuations in your house and a lot of different things. If those things happen to you, you might want to look into some psychic energy imbalances or whatever faith you are or whatever spirituality you follow or whatever belief system you follow. Even if it's pure logic and you can explain everything with logic, look at yourself on the inside and ask yourself some questions about the possibilities, about what and where some emotions come from that are not your own. So, for example, you can generate an emotion inside of you if you have an imaginary, like, fantasy. Maybe you're in love with some guy and you're thinking about him all the time, and it's almost so real because you can imagine it just exactly how it would be. Well, a lot of learning how to work with psychic energy is imagination work. And to balance that psychic energy, you can use your imagination, and it can be fun. So, in conclusion, and in preparation for tomorrow, I would like to say thank you to Misty. I'm very excited. I can't wait to see you. And hopefully, my friends and listeners, we will have something for you next week all ready to go. Hey, I might even get motivated and finish it this weekend. The editing and everything. That is, if we don't have any more technical difficulties. And thank you guys so much for listening. And if you have any questions, drop me an email. I have a website now. I'm building it. It's called we'reallpsychic.com. And you can email me at lisa@we'reallpsychic.com anytime. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.